This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Kyle Ferris. Farias, I think is how it's pronounced. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Says, do you think we still have a chance at the playoffs, and how do you turn it around? There's no doubt they have a chance for the playoffs. Now, you know how you turn it around? The offensive line needs to give Tua time. You do that, and I think you turn it around. Because I think Tua can even overcome what they have even at offensive coordinator. All right? I have more faith in Tua than most people as a player. I don't have faith in him as, his body. I mean, that's obviously his lack of durability. I mean, listen, I'm on record. That was the one thing that scared me away from Tua in the draft. It's not his ability. I was going back and forth with Steve Sevkis from the Sun Sentinel, and he's dead set on he's a size queen. You've got to be 6'5", and you've got to have a rocket arm, which is a bunch of bullshit. Because Chad Pennington didn't have a rocket arm, and he was a successful quarterback, and Drew Brees doesn't have a rocket arm, and he was a successful quarterback, and Bob Greasy is also in the Hall of Fame, and he doesn't have a rocket of an arm. And Drew Brees wasn't tall, and neither is Kyler Murray. Short quarterbacks have had success in our league too. So anybody that tells me, oh, he's short and he doesn't have a strong arm, that doesn't mean anything. Joe Montana is in the Hall of Fame, and he doesn't have a strong arm. Never had a strong arm. But he has the same qualities that Joe Montana has. Intelligence, ball accuracy, ball placement, all of those kind of things. And when you have that, you can be a quarterback in this league, and you can have success in this league. I'm not a size queen, so I don't worry about that kind of stuff. I've watched all kinds of quarterbacks. In fact, I've seen plenty of quarterbacks that are 6'5" and have a rocket of an arm, and I don't want them anywhere near my football team. So that, to me, you want to tell me about durability? Hey, that's what scared me off about Tua in the first place. A couple years ago, I'm honest at least. I don't take Tua, and I don't take Herbert. That's all. It's really simple for everybody to see Herbert physically at the moment. But at that time, when he was coming out, he really hadn't had any great moments at all in Oregon, no great wins. And a lot of times when you saw him win some of his games, it was mostly with his legs, not with his arm. And it was all about him being an introvert and all that other stuff. And if he was an introvert, I wanted no part of it. So I wouldn't have taken either guy, actually. But when they took Tua, I understood it because he can play. Now, putting a young line in front of him, that was not smart. That part is the part that really hurt the Dolphins, that you went too young in front of a cat like that because he is injury prone. So these are the frustrating things, and I get all of this. But you can turn this around. You can fix this. Now, it's going to take a drastic change by the offensive line. See, I don't worry about Tua figuring it out. I know he's going to figure it out. Now, are you going to allow him to figure it out in one piece, or are you going to put people in front of him that is going to get him killed, that you're going to beat him down? And then he'll never reach his potential because you would have broken him in half already. That's the problem right now. Can you find enough people up front to allow the quarterback to actually grow into the position and go out there and make some plays? I'm sick and tired of watching quarterbacks drop back in the NFL, and I'm watching them with space to throw the ball. And I know that there are offensive line issues on other teams, but I'm still watching a lot of quarterbacks, including Justin Herbert, who line up and they're not running around for their lives. They get to stand back there with some space and throw the ball with the allotted time that you need. And they're not doing that for Tua. So that's how you fix this whole thing. It's not about his size. It's not about his arm. It's not about any of that bullshit. It's about fixing the 5 guys in front. It's about making sure he has enough time to do his job. The kid's smart enough. The kid can read defenses, can go through his progressions. All that stuff is normal for him. But he can't do it on his ass. And he can't do it if he's running for his life constantly. It just doesn't allow him. You know what I mean? And because he's not 6'5", and he can't be leaning sideways on one leg and sidearm a ball 40 yards downfield because he doesn't have that kind of a body. So if you wanted a punching bag, then you should have drafted a guy that weighs 260 pounds and is 6'6" and can sit back there and take a pounding. But if you want a quarterback, you got a quarterback. But allow him to be a quarterback. That's all. I mean, Joe Montana got to do his job because he had a hell of a line in front of him. Yeah, I know he had Rice and Taylor, and he had one hell of a tight end and all that, and he had a hell of a receiving back. I get all of that, but he can't get the ball to those guys if the guys in front of him, who, by the way, or even Hall of Fame worthy, if they don't give him the time. But he had a hell of a line, and it gave him the time. And he's not a big guy. It wasn't a big arm, but all you had to do was give him time, and he'll find somebody. Fran Tarkenton didn't have a big arm either. He could scramble around, but he didn't have a big arm. Problem is, there's a lot of you out there that you don't really know the history of the NFL. And then, you come up with these narratives. You start to convince yourselves that every quarterback has to be 6'5" and have a rocket of an arm. And then I can just tell you, so what? That's Jeff George and Ryan Leaf and Achilles Smith and Cam Newton and whatever. That just because you're 6'5" and you have a rocket of an arm doesn't mean you're going to be a good quarterback, Jim Druckenmiller. Doesn't mean you can be a real passer. Dante Culpepper was never a passer. He was just a big-ass athlete. Once you took the knee away from him, he wasn't a passer. He couldn't sit in the pocket and beat you because he's not a passer. Tua's a passer. You want to turn it around? Allow the passer some time to throw the damn ball. And that's up to Flo now. Flo chose to go so young on the offensive line, and then you brought in a unproven offensive line coach. You're asking for a ton of trouble. And that's what they've got, a ton of trouble. But to turn it around, that's what you need, my brother. He's got to figure out that line, and it better give the quarterback some time. If he doesn't figure out that line, I don't know how many games they end up winning this season, to be quite honest, because there's no way any quarterback can do their jobs behind that.